This is David Dingo for Dingo Servo Mounts. Just some tips and tricks in terms of how to use our control boards. This is the very cheap and nasty little simplex board. It's adjusted by means of a screwdriver in this little slot here. Very nice little board and does the job very well. Set speed, obviously. You just need a switch in there and a 9 to 12 volt power supply in there, and your servo plugs on over there, and it will go like crazy straight over there, and it will work perfectly well for many years. Disadvantage is the fact that you have to get to the board in order to set it up, and that can be a little bit of a problem, especially if you got your board in a long way underneath the layout and you're trying to see from the top what's going on. It's very tricky to set them up. There are ways around it, but like I said, it's not the easiest way of doing it. So we have worked on our normal boards, which are, this is a servo board. We also do a signal board, which has a yellow dot on it. That's set slightly differently, but by and large the same. So you have your board, you have a switch there, a single switch, and you have a 12 volt power supply coming in, which goes into the two terminals over there. It's important to get the positive and negative the right way around. If you get them the wrong way around, you won't blow the board, but it won't work. And so you just need to swap the power away. And then of course you have your servo, which then plugs in over there. And that's basically all there is to it. And so if I put some power on, I'll see the little LED lights up, and then if I operate the switch, it will move from side to side. Now the advantage of this obviously is that you can put the board underneath the layout, because you don't have to get to the board to set it up. We have a little setting box. Please don't be put off by the fact that this one is orange. They're normally black. This was just a sample one I made up many years ago. So you have a little sample thing with two pots here, with which you can set the distance of the situation. Now, when you plug in the other side of this cable, this is not an Ethernet port, by the way. It is purely a port for setting up. You plug your setting box into there, and the little light starts flashing, and you can then, sorry, let's get that. You can then adjust the position of the board. Once you get it into the right position, you wait until the board stops flashing, and then you unplug, and that will be then set. So next time you operate that point, it will go back to that point again. Right, now the thing that people say to me is, but you still have to get underneath the board to see what's going on. Well, yes and no. A very strategically placed mirror underneath on the floor will let you see when the light is flashing, and if you look at the back of the setting box, you can unplug that there, and that is exactly the same as unplugging it from the board. So you can have that underneath the board, let's say, with a strategically placed mirror, so you can see the LED. When you plug that into your setting box, the little LED starts flashing, and you can then carry on setting your board exactly the same way. When you've got it in the right position, wait a few minutes. When it stops flashing, you can just unplug it, and job done. The same with the other direction. You change the switch to the opposite direction, and again you plug in your setting box and you set the opposite side. And once it's set and it stops flashing, unplug the board and your thing is set. It works exactly the same way on the dual signal or the twin signal boards. Twin signal board basically has a setting pin here, so you move it into the one side there to set the black section. The black servo is set with the black pin there, and you have a green LED which will flash over here. and when you set the other one, you put it on over here. So again, what you can do is you can put your clip onto where you want to set. You can plug your cable into the port there, and then once you're ready to start setting, you just plug your setting box into the other end of the cable. The LED will start flashing again. If you've got a mirror on the floor, you can see that, and you set that. Well, once you're finished with that one, you can then unplug the setting box, climb underneath the layout if you need to, and pop the pin on the other side, plug the setting box in, the light will start flashing, and again you carry on. On the red side, the red LED flashes, on the black side the green LED flashes, and that's a very, very simple way of setting it up. Like I've said before, the speed is controlled, and it will not it will not be, you can't change it. All you can do is set the two endpoints, and all you'll need then is the switch. There are two switches going over here with a common in the center, and your positive and negative 9 to 12 volts DC going there. Important to note that when you're using these boards, you need to get a really good power supply. It needs to be a proper regulated power supply. Don't try and use the 12 volts that comes back out of the old DC controllers, because it's not very well smooth. It's rough. It's not a good power supply to use. So I would recommend you get a good, well stabilized power supply, like a computer power supply or something like that. They're available from eBay and things like that, or even just a 2 amp wall wart. 2 amp wall wart will drive 2 of these double boards quite happily, or 4 signal boards quite happily. And I'm actually looking at starting to stock some wall warts like that, just to be able to offer the full range. So that's a little bit of a tip and trick thing with our setting boards, and hope that's been useful for those of you who've had a few problems with it. This is David Ingleby for Dingo Servo Mounts, and thank you for watching.